Hey y'all, it's Monday, 7 o'clock, and it's your girl Stay Hall, running for your life, LYFE. Love yourself first explicitly. Happy Monday, everybody. It has been a wonderful, wonderful Monday for me, and I hope it has been for you all as well. Really excited to jump on here and chop it up with y'all with another topic that I hope is of value to those of you who are watching. Sorry I wasn't on last Monday. So glad I got to do my Queen Talk with my sister circle on last week. And I know I said I'd be back on Monday, but y'all, can you believe on Monday I actually wasn't feeling well? And I only say, can y'all believe, not like I'm above not feeling well, but like I never feel bad. And so I tricked myself into thinking that I'm always going to feel great, but I'm glad I listened to my body. I needed some rest. I think I was dehydrated, exhausted, all the things that just make one take to the bed even when they don't want to. So I do apologize, but I'm so glad that I was able to jump on a couple of days prior with that Queen Talk with my girls from around the country, which was really cool. I had my Texas friends, my Virginia friends, my Pittsburgh friends. So it was really cool. So I hope you got a chance to tune into that because we talked about what kind of friend are you, meaning yourself. What kind of friend are you? Because as I said on that broadcast is most of the time when we talk about friendships, we talk about it from our perspective and how we see other people as friends to us, but we don't very often talk about what kind of friend we are or what kind of friend we perceive ourselves to be. And so today we are going to take a deep dive and start talking about ourselves as well, because again, it's all about self-reflection and, life. Love yourself first explicitly. I believe that to the nth degree. You cannot have true peace and happiness if you don't truly love yourself. However, when loving yourself or learning to love yourself in some cases, you have to really look introspectively and be self-aware and just find out what it is that is keeping you from loving yourself to the fullest extent. So we're going to talk about some things like that today. And so the title, so to speak, of today's broadcast is Stop Lying to Yourself. And in my head, I'm thinking, quit lying, sis. So that's what I'm really thinking. But stop lying to yourself, because I feel like we can kind of Jedi mind trick ourselves in certain things because it's me talking to me and no one's really going to call me out. I can really kind of get away with saying any old thing or convincing myself of any old thing, and who's going to know, right? So we kind of really shy away from and don't want to ever lie to other people. God forbid get caught in a lie with someone else, because that's embarrassing and it makes you feel some kind of way. It challenges your integrity. It can mess up your reputation. So we don't lie to other people if we can help it, unless that's an issue we're suffering with, which that's a whole different topic for a different day. But typically, lying is frowned upon, and it's something that we really try hard not to do when dealing with others. However, when we're dealing with ourselves, we can overlook it because we don't even consider it a lie. It's just a thought. In our minds, it's the truth. And so I just want to kind of talk about stop lying to yourself, or what is it that you're lying about? And so when I say that, for those of you who might not quite pick up what I'm putting down and it sounds crazy to you, lying to yourself, it's just that stinking thinking, that negative self-talk, how we talk ourselves in or out of things with really no rationale, just because it's in our comfort zone. And so it can be in our personal lives, our professional lives, our health lives, whatever it is. We can lie to ourselves in order to keep ourselves in a place where we're comfortable, because we don't want to challenge ourselves. And there are some things that we have going on, some things that we need to do that no one knows about but us and God. And so it's very easy to get away with that lie for a very long time because there is no one to hold you accountable but you. And so one of the first things that comes to mind is, you all know that I do life coaching, and I meet with several women every week and kind of helping them reach their goals and achieve their goals. And I'm a coach. And so as a coach, that means I'm there to cheer you on. I'm there to comfort you in the bad times. I'm there to hold you accountable. I'm there to push you. That's what a coach does. And as a coach, I run into a lot of these lies people are telling themselves. But because I'm their coach and because I get to dig deep into everything and they share things with me, I'm able to call BS on some of the lies they tell themselves. So in my coaching career, a lot of the women that I coach are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. And anyone who knows anything about entrepreneurship, or anyone who is an entrepreneur, knows that one thing entrepreneurship does not fall shy of having a lot of, and that is struggles. There are a lot of struggles when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Number one, most of the time when any of us enter in entrepreneurship, we are a solopreneur, meaning we don't necessarily have a partner or anyone who's going on the journey with us. And so everything falls on us, which in some cases, that can be a great thing because you have full creative authority and you can kind of do things your own way and it's your baby. But at the same time, it's a lot of pressure. And so with the women that I coach who are either wanting to be an entrepreneur, or maybe they're an entrepreneur wanting to go to the next level, I deal with a lot of self-lying. And when I say that, what I mean is a lot of the goals that maybe they had and wanted to achieve when they first entered into the coaching relationship with me somehow fall by the wayside over time. And usually the reason, when I ask them, why haven't you done A, B, and C? The two words that they start out with are, I can't. But the thing is, when you first had the dream, when you first had this aspiration, there was no doubt in your mind that you could. But things went along, you tried this, it didn't work. Maybe you didn't get the support you needed. Maybe things just didn't fit together the way you thought. And so instead of continuing to push, you just tell yourself, I can't. It's not for me. Sometimes we lie to ourselves to the degree where we don't even make it that personal. We'll just say, it's impossible. Nobody can do this. Lies. And the reason why we tell ourselves these lies is maybe because when we tried and we failed, we didn't like the way it felt. Of course, no one likes the feeling of failure. Or maybe it's because when we tried and we failed, other people had things to say and we don't want to have to deal with that. So instead of continuing to try, we just tell ourselves, I can't do it. It's impossible. No one could do it. I don't even know why I thought about this in the first place. It was a stupid idea. I bit off more than I could chew. And when we lie to ourselves in this way, it makes us feel better for some reason, because now we've taken the onus off of ourselves and just put it out there into the atmosphere that this was something that's completely out of my control. I had the best of intentions. I gave it my all. I just can't, which in my mind is definitely a lie, because I truly believe that anything you can dream, you can achieve. If you had the idea and you truly believed at some point that this was something that you can do, and especially if you're still passionate about the thing and it was just something extra you wanted to add, maybe just to take it to the next level, then there's no way that it's impossible. If you thought it in your mind, then it's definitely possible for you to do it. And so instead of you pushing past your fears, instead of you using your failures to catapult you to the next level, instead of using whatever mishap as a learning lesson, it's just a lot more comfortable to say, I can't, and tell ourselves that lie. And the reason why it's more comfortable to do that, it's not because you no longer want that goal. It's just because you're afraid that What if it doesn't work again? I don't want to feel that way. What if I try and it's still a failure? Now I'm going to really look crazy to other people. And so we cloud our minds with all of this negative self-talk, with all of these lies, and it prohibits us from reaching the level of success that we're, first of all, capable of and that we desire. And so I just encourage you all to think about what are the things in life, in your business, in your career, even in your relationships, your health goals, your weight loss goals, whatever it is, what are those things that you really wanted to do and you were passionate about doing them, but for whatever reason, and usually it is due to failure, because if we're getting great results, if we're getting reaching the goal that we want, we're not going to quit. So it's pretty safe to say that 100% of the time, the reason why we quit is because things weren't working out quite like we wanted them to. And so I challenge each of you who's listening today to go back and revisit some of those things that you were really passionate about, that you were really eager to do, that maybe just didn't work out the way that you wanted to right off the bat, that you quit on and told yourself that you couldn't do it. Revisit those things and think about how you can do it. And maybe you just need to do it differently. We also tend to lie to ourselves about things that are more in the positive. We may at times bite off more than we can chew, or set a goal or do something that we full well know we're not going to do just because we think, well, if I say it, then that means it's not going to happen. Sometimes we know that we're not ready for certain things, but we put ourselves in the position to have to do them anyway, knowing full well that we are not equipped. That leads to a lot of stress, which then leads us to tell ourselves the other lies that we can't. And so what I offer you in that mode is, when there is something that you want to do, whether it is entering into the dating world again, whether it is taking your business to the next level, whether it is the weight loss goals, whether it is going for a career change, starting school again, whatever it is, before you really start putting the wheels in motion, I need you to think about, am I in the right place in my life right now to do this? Do I have the tools, or do I feel like I have access to the tools and resources I need to do this? Am I jumping into this too soon? Something that a lot of us are guilty of is trying to skip steps. Am I trying to go straight from A to Z? Am I setting up real unrealistic goals for myself? A lie we tell ourselves a lot of times is, I can do it, I can fit it in, I can make room, when we haven't made any provisions to do that. If your life is already very busy, chaotic, hectic, sometimes we do need to shift things around and maybe put something on the back burner until later. That's being mature. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. It doesn't mean that you won't do it. It just means that you can't do it and you won't do it right now. Because what happens is, if we force things and we jump into things before we're ready, if we jump into things before we've done the proper research, if we jump into things without asking for help, then we're more likely to fail. And we're not failing because we can't do it. We're not failing because it's impossible. We're failing because we failed to plan. We didn't make room for whatever it is we were doing. We were trying to cram something into an already chaotic life. For instance, if one of your goals is that of a fitness or a weight loss goal, don't just decide, I'm going to start exercising every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. If you already know that you're not a morning person, if you already know that you have a lot going on in the morning and you need to get to work and you're getting the kids ready for school and your mornings are already hectic, if you know that you have tried this a million times in the past and it didn't work, or maybe you did it for a week and you had to quit, then don't set yourself up for that failure, which is going to, in the end, cause you to quit and tell yourself you can't. What you need to do is say, I really have a fitness and weight loss goal. I know I can do it. I just need to figure out how I can do it. So maybe instead of doing what a lot of people do and getting up early in the morning and going for a jog or hitting the gym, maybe I need to consider doing something later in the evening. Maybe I just need to find a weekend class that I can join, and maybe I won't reach my goal quite as quickly as I want to, or maybe this isn't exactly the way I thought I was going to do it, but this is something that I know I can stick to. It's very important when you're moving and navigating through life that you plan for every single thing that you do so that you don't hit unnecessary roadblocks. It's the unnecessary roadblocks that tend to kind of knock us off our course and then force us to tell ourselves the lies that we can't do it. Even in your personal life, if you're someone who has maybe been in a relationship or a marriage and now you find yourself single, and you're interested in dating again, and you just decide to get back on that horse and date, and you get out there and you meet people and things aren't working, and then you just decide, I can't do it. I'm just going to be single. Dating's not for me. Well, did you plan for dating? And I know that may sound crazy, but like, that's really a thing. You plan for everything. What you need to think about is, what happened in my last relationship that caused it to fail? Have I done the work on me to either try to repair whatever it was negative that I brought into the relationship, or have I properly healed from that last relationship? What are my expectations in a new relationship? You have to plan and do what you need to do for you before you can move into that. Because of course, if you haven't done the work on you, if you haven't done that self-realization, if you haven't healed, if you haven't prepared, then there's a good chance that if you just get out there like, okay, I've been single for 6 months, I'm ready to date. No. And that's one cliche that I do not believe in when they say time heals all wounds. Absolutely not. There is no way that you can just sit with a broken heart, unhealed brokenness, unresolved issues, and just sit for any amount of time and they're going to go away. You have to do the work. And so I talk to a lot of women who are single and they're just like, I'm not dating anymore. I can't do it. There's no good men out there. I'm not relationship material. I'm good by myself. And I'm like, why do you say that? Well, because I tried it and it just seems like it's not working. And my girlfriend says she's having issues with dating too and whatever. Okay, well, have you ever been in a relationship before? And of course, I'm talking to women of a certain age. Almost certainly the answer is going to be yes. Well, what happened in that relationship? Well, this, and this. Well, what have you done to heal from that? Well, it's been a certain amount of time and I knew what happened and I talked to my girlfriends about it. And sometimes, ladies, we can give each other the worst advice, especially if we're in relationship with one another and we have the best intentions. But unless you have really done the work and sought some sort of professional guidance, you're not going to be okay. You are putting now the same person who was in that broken relationship before out here in the dating world for a new relationship. And now you have the baggage of whatever happened in that relationship and you haven't done the work to heal with it. Of course, you're not going to have a great time dating again. You're going in with baggage, negativity, preconceived notions, probably unrealistic expectations, trying to make somebody else make up from what the other person did. There are a lot of issues in that. But instead of us realizing that, you know what, I'm probably not ready. You know what, I probably need some coaching and guidance. I can do this. I'm worthy of a relationship. I desire a successful relationship. And there is a man out there. Instead of us doing that, we just say, I can't do it. There's no good men out there. And so I need us to stop telling ourselves these lies that prohibit us from living the life that we were destined to live. We were destined to live great, happy, fulfilling lives, not stress-free lives, not problem-free lives, but happy and abundant lives. But we've also been given the resources and the tools that when things don't go exactly the way we desire them to go, we have ways to fix it. Some of the other lies that we tell ourselves is, maybe that's just not for me. Maybe I'm not worthy. That works for other people, but it won't work for me. And again, the main things that always tie back to these lies that we tell ourselves are fear of failure. We know that we're worthy. We feel it in our hearts, but because we're not getting the type of results that we want, it's just easier for us to say, well, maybe that's just not for me. Maybe I wasn't meant to be that successful. That's not for everybody. Or another lie that we'll tell ourselves is, I'm fine just the way I am. I'm fine by myself. I'm fine in my financial situation. I don't need to have this or that. I don't believe that there's one of us who doesn't desire to have a little more than we do now. It's just the nature of life, especially when you're someone who aspires to be active and successful and you're doing things and you like being with other people and you like flourishing. Of course, you would want more. It doesn't mean that that's all you care about, but I don't think that there's any one of us who can say that I'm 100% satisfied with everything in my life and I don't desire to change anything. In my opinion, we all should be aspiring to be better. But the thing is, when we try and it doesn't work, we need to be honest with ourselves and not lie to ourselves. Hey, Sam, thank you, sis. Another thing that I see us lying about oftentimes is our relationships with friends and family. And we lie to ourselves a lot of times in giving others a pass for their poor behavior. If you followed me for any amount of time, if you've seen any of my videos, you will know that one of my pet peeves when it comes to personal relationships are people who behave poorly within the relationship and use the excuse or reason, that's just how I am. But the thing is, not only do they say that, we'll say it too. We will let people misuse and abuse us, mistreat us, all based on the fact that we have convinced ourselves that that's just how they are. It's a lie. Because if that's just how they are, it doesn't matter because they can still have the ability to change. And most of the time, the reason that someone who behaves poorly is just how they are is because no one's ever challenged them. I truly believe that you teach people how to treat you, and we should not accept bad behavior just based on the fact that that's just how they are. What does that even mean? I don't think that any of us were just wired to continually make the same mistakes over and over again. I don't think that any of us were just born and put on this earth just to be bad friends, just to be a bad family member. No, it's behavior that was never addressed, behavior that quite oftentimes is rewarded. And when I say rewarded, meaning that no one ever says anything, everybody accepts it. You might talk behind their back, you might, say whatever, but the overlying thing is that's just how they are. So they have no reason to change. And because we don't want to be confrontational or we are afraid of losing the relationship, we lie to ourselves and convince ourselves that, yeah, that's just how they are. And so what I would encourage everyone to do is realize that you are worthy of being treated well. You are worthy of being in relationships with family and friends where the goodness is reciprocated. If you treat someone well, they should be able to treat you well. There is nothing wrong with articulating your needs or dislikes with the treatment that you receive from others. You do not have to lie to yourself and say that's just how they are, or they mean well, or they probably didn't mean it like that, when you full well know that this is their pattern. Another thing that I see that happens in friendships a lot of times is we may have friends that we watch and witness treat other people in a way that is less than favorable, but we convince ourselves that they would never do that to us. That is also a lie. If someone is capable of treating one person poorly and it is unwarranted and they are just doing it for their own selfish gain or out of emotional reasons, all you have to do is push the wrong button and you will become a victim as well. Don't lie to yourself and make yourself believe that you are so important to them or you are such a great friend or such a great person that they would never do that to you. You are doing yourself and that person a disservice by allowing that type of behavior and not addressing it and rewarding it by continuing to be in a relationship where you know that the person has the tendency to be toxic to other people. Because as I've said several times, is we are our brother and sister's keepers, and we should never be okay with mistreatment of anyone. It is not okay that just because you are not the victim to accept poor behavior. And if you do have a relationship with someone who treats other people like that, it is your due diligence to call them out, because that's what we do as friends. We call each other out on our mess. We make each other aware, because again, the reason why there's so much poor behavior with people is because no one ever said anything. Yes, exactly, Adrian. What you tolerate increases, because that is a reward. People act the way they feel most comfortable. But again, as a friend, if I see you behaving poorly or treating somebody in a way that I feel is unkind, my first thing is going to be, what's going on with you? And you may be missing an opportunity to help a friend by just accepting that behavior and lying to yourself and saying that's just how they are, or they don't mean any harm, when meanwhile, this person may need some kind of help, some kind of support. Because I truly do not believe that people are out there just wanting to hurt people or just wanting to be poor friends. What is it that they say? Hurt people hurt people. So instead of lying to yourself and making yourself feel comfortable in the situation that you're in or the relationship that you're in, be a friend and let that person know, hey, sis, the way you're acting is not called for. It's not appropriate. I find the behavior to be unkind, and I don't really think that's the type of person you are. So let's talk about what's really bothering you. It's that easy. And you may make all the difference in that person's life, because we all crave a certain amount of accountability, whether we feel comfortable about it or not. But how many times has someone come to you or said something to you that you've been carrying, but no one wanted to address the elephant in the room? But once it's out, it's that waiting to exhale moment, because now the door has opened and I can speak about it freely. The same thing happens in marriages. So many people get into a relationship, get into a marriage, and lie to themselves about the issues that they're having before they even walk down that aisle, and convince themselves that once we get married, things will change. You never want to address it again, because you're afraid of the failure. You're afraid of losing the relationship. And so you just convince yourself that it'll be better once we get married. Well, let me tell you, from me to you, if no one's ever told you before, getting married does not fix any problems. If anything, it exaggerates the problems that you already have. Again, I say, getting married does not fix any problems. It just exaggerates the problems that you're already having. Whatever issues that you have as boyfriend and girlfriend, as an engaged couple, if you don't address them in that season, guess what? Now you're just going to be a married couple with those same problems. Quit lying to yourself and thinking that marriage is going to change anything. Marriage, and I hate to say it this way because I definitely respect the covenant of marriage. I love marriage. I love Black love. I love any happy couple together. But what I do know for sure is marriage really is just a piece of paper. The two people who become man and wife are still the two people who were boyfriend and girlfriend. Nothing changes just because you said I do. So whatever issues you have need to be addressed before, unless you just want to keep dealing with them. But don't try to lie to yourself and say, well, once I'm his wife, he's not going to treat me that way. Once I'm his wife, he's not going to keep doing those things. Once I'm his wife, he's going to be better. He's going to pay more attention. No. And like I said, once you get married, a lot of time things are worse, because now you are feeling like, I'm his wife. How could he do that to me? And now you have the house together and things are commingled and there's a lot more involved than just emotions. And so now things that may have been easier to work through before become much harder, because now you've made this thing permanent. Now you have a lot more expectations, and you've been lying to yourself for so long, saying that trip down the aisle to the preacher was going to fix it. So now you're mad at yourself too. So that's the reason why it's just so important, despite how hard some things may be to address, despite how difficult it may be at times to face that woman in the mirror and just really call a thing and just deal with the real issue. It may be difficult to do that, but what is even more difficult is trying to pick up the pieces after you've been lying to yourself for so long. Because when you have to realize that the reason why you haven't, the reason why you can't, the reason why you didn't is you, that's a hard pill to swallow. Because like I tell you guys all the time, it's a lot easier to deal with an issue when you are the issue, because you are in control of you and you can fix you and you can tweak you and you can work on you. But when you ignore the fact that you're the issue only to find out however long later that you really were the issue, how sad are you going to feel to know that I could have fixed this a long time ago? Because it was me. I was the one who was lying to me. I can't blame other people for what I allowed them to do. I can't blame other people for what I neglected to do for me. It's a hard pill to swallow. It can be done, but it's going to take a lot more work than if you just nip it in the bud and address it from the very beginning. Now, the other thing I want to talk about as far as the lies that we tell ourselves is there are things that we want to do in life. Again, it may be business, it may be dating, it may be being more active in our social life with our friends, it may be going back to school, it may be whatever. But we all have pretty busy lives. Most of us have jobs or kids or husbands or businesses or all of the above. And we all only have 24 hours in a day. But it is how we choose to spend those 24 hours in a day that really matters. But what happens is we will lie to ourselves and tell ourselves and others that we're too busy to do some of the things that we want to do. So maybe we've been saying, hey, I'd really love to go back to school, or maybe I'm really would love to date, or I would really love to start a new business, or I would really love to spend more time with my girlfriends, but I'm too busy. Well, what I want to say about that is you really need to dissect the difference between busy and productive. Because I can be busy just sitting here twiddling my thumbs. Because in my mind, busy just means you're doing something. You know, we're up, we're breathing, we're doing something. I can call that busy. But a lot of times people use that busy as an excuse to not have to move forward, as an excuse not to commit, because those things that we want to do, we will make room for those things. We will make time for those things, no matter how busy we are. And those things that we really have a desire to do, we're going to do them, we're going to fit them in, and we're going to move some other things off of our plate. So if you are a person who finds yourself consistently saying, I want to do this, but I'm too busy, really take some time to analyze how you're spending your day. What time are you getting up in the morning? How much time are you spending on social media, except for when you're watching me, of course? How much time are you spending watching TV? How much time are you spending texting and talking on the phone? I'm sure just in those things alone, you can probably find an extra 3 to 5 hours in your day where you were busy, but you weren't being very productive. And so if there are things that you aspire to do in life, some goals that you want to reach, some things that you want to revisit, and you just feel like you don't have enough time because you're so busy, I just challenge you. Analyze your day, analyze a week, write down every single thing that you did and the time that you spent on it. And I bet you'll find at least a couple of hours in your day. And most things that we want to do, if you just have an hour or so a day, 5 or so hours a week to dedicate to that, you're golden. But if you are constantly filling your time with things that aren't producing anything, but you're busy, it's time to move things around. And there are other times when people use that excuse as busy or say busy because they want to sound productive to other people. And they're missing out on opportunities to stretch themselves and reach new goals because they feel like if they say that they have time or they're free, then that makes them look like they're not productive. Well, for me, I'm someone who has a lot on my plate every single day, almost from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. I love the opportunities to say, I don't have anything going on today. Because when we're too busy, we're also not doing the principles of life, loving ourselves first explicitly. We're not taking that time we need to pour into ourselves. We're not doing the things that are going to keep us whole and healthy and happy. Because busy, to me, I just think of busy and busybody. And when I hear busy a lot, the first thing I want to say to people is, busy doing what? Because busy to me means nothing at all. But again, it's this rabbit hole we go down. It's a lie we tell ourselves to either make it seem like we have a whole lot going on and it's really not a lot going on, or a lie we tell ourselves because we're afraid of doing whatever it is that we would need to spend that extra time on if we would just admit that, yeah, we're busy, but we're not really that productive. And so I just want us to be, as we go through this week, just really self-aware about the things that we're telling ourselves, the lies that we're telling ourselves, how we can let that negative thinking keep us from reaching the next level of success that we desire, and how sometimes we are our own worst enemies. And also how a lot of times with the lies we tell ourselves, we're allowing other people to continue bad behavior or treat us poorly because we just don't want to address the truth that there is something awry and that they can make a change. And instead we just say, well, that's just the way they are. Thank you, Adrian, for that hashtag lifer. And yes, whoever is on, I don't know why I've been forgetting that lately, but I love when y'all jump on and remember for me. Please hit the hashtag lifer for me. Please like and share the video on your pages. I really appreciate it. Also, something that I haven't mentioned, even though I mentioned my coaching, I don't really talk about how to set up coaching with me. And so it's something that Wallace and I were talking about the other day, because y'all know he be trying to play my producer, my boss, my supervisor, and all the things, but he ain't the boss of me. But, I do listen to him when he has information for me. But he was like, babe, you tell people that you coach, but you never really talk about how they can start coaching with you one-on-one. And so there are a couple of ways. You can always go to my website, which is there at the bottom of the screen, www.stayhall.com. And there are some links on there where you can reach out, send me an email, let me know, or you can schedule an appointment with me, or you can always shoot me an email at info@stayhall.com and just request a meeting with me, and we can do, just a quick 15-minute complimentary session just to see what goals you're trying to reach, what it is that you're looking for out of a coach. What I like to tell everyone is I am not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I'm not licensed in that way. I am definitely a coach. I'm someone to be your cheerleader, help you reach your goals, give you advisement, support you in all that you want to do. But I'm not writing prescriptions or having you lay on the couch or, be able to interpret your dreams and none of that. But I can coach you, and I can, more than anything, hold you accountable to what you said you wanted to do. I tell people that all the time. When I am coaching you, it's not about you doing what I think you should do. It's not about you just following my advice to the letter and, Stay said this. No, it's about me holding you accountable and helping you achieve what you told me you wanted to do. And I'm just going to make sure that you do what you said you wanted to do. So again, if you're interested in that kind of coaching, if you are looking for someone just to support you, because a lot of us don't have that in our lives organically, because we have friendships with our family and friends that we've had forever, and they kind of put us in a box and they only see us in one way. And so when we start telling them about our hopes and dreams and aspirations, they kind of looking at us like, telling us those lies. You can't do that. Or since when did you want to do something like that? Or that's not, whatever. And they can't help it. They just don't have the tools that they need. And so a lot of times we do have to step outside of our comfort zone and get with someone who knows us now and who believes in what we want to do now, with no judgment, no baggage, I remember when in 1984 you said you was going to open up the chicken shack, and that, none of that. It's just about who you are today and who you want to be moving forward. That's what I do. I help you to achieve those goals, whether it is starting a business, having better relationships, creating boundaries in your relationships, writing a book, starting a podcast, whatever it is. I'm your girl who's going to coach you through it, support you through it, give you all the skills, tools, and resources that I have to make sure that you can do it. And then I'm going to hold you accountable. And then I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader all the way. And I am going to be your biggest fan when you do it. So that's what I do. And so you can either go to stayhall.com or shoot me an email, info@stayhall.com, and we can get the ball rolling on that. So I did want to talk about that a little bit. As always, it has been awesome being on with you guys. I look forward to these Mondays. For those of you who don't know, I've also been picked up on another podcast, which is called, oh my gosh, what is it called? Hey Sis. How could I forget that? It's 2 words. Hey Sis. And I am with the lovely Constance and April, Constance Carter and April Sampay. It is the 3 of us ladies. We are on live Central Time every Wednesday at 8. And so I will be on shortly on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So Monday is going to be Running for Your Life. Tuesday is going to be The Hallway with my wonderful husband, Wallace. And I've already started the Wednesdays with Hey Sis. And so we always talk about some great topics for women and men. Sometimes it's kind of whatever's going on in our culture today, or we hit some topics like what I'm talking about. But if you guys are free, watch tomorrow, 8:00 Central Time for Hey Sis with Stay, Constance, and April. And that's all I have today, guys. But I love you. Thank you, Shantae, for joining. And you are welcome. For the info, please hit me with a #lifer before you log off. Guys, I love you all to bits and pieces, as I say every week. And make sure to love one another, but never forget to live your life. LYFE. Love yourself first explicitly. And I will see y'all tomorrow with Hey Sis. Hey, brother-in-law, thank you for tuning in. Love you guys. Have a wonderfully blessed rest of your Monday evening, and hope to see you tomorrow at 8:00 for Hey Sis. Same bat time. No, same bat place, not same bat time, hour later. But y'all know what I mean. I'm going to be here. So hit the alert so then you'll know whenever I go live. So if I'm crazy and I say the wrong time, your phone will alert you and say, Hey Sis, Stay Halls Live. Love y'all.